Congress fiddles on its holiday, gas prices continue to burn a hole in your pocket, the same crisis they said that they were going to address. What should lawmakers be doing? Well, a lot, according to my next guest. Joining us in the boardroom is Andrew Liveris. He is the president and chairman and the CEO of Dow Chemical, a company that has clearly benefited from this run-up in prices. So what he's about to say flies in the face of something that would help his company, and that is looking for more oil alternatives here. But Mr. Liveris, they're not doing it.
No, Neil, they're not. And, you know, when you really look at the outline that I just heard from Congress, we've got partisanship to the galore. And what I have really been saying for 4 years as a company is I'm a huge energy consumer. The Dow Chemical Company consumes energy and converts it to value-add products that actually can help save energy. So the consequence of energy outsourcing, I now have to invest for our corporation, for our shareholders overseas, where they have energy policies that bring everything to the table. You can't afford to have the world's largest economy not have a holistic, full-force energy policy, which it means increased local supply. That means more drilling. It means lots of alternatives, not just bio-renewables, but also nuclear and coal and all the things that go with fossil fuels in totality. And it means a complete and utter approach to conservation and efficiency. My company alone in the last 10 years has saved enough energy that absolutely, totally, you know, I can minimize the impact, as you just said. But at the end of the day, if the country had saved percentage-wise as much as my company has saved, we would not be importing one drop of oil from the Middle East.
Well, you know what's interesting about this whole argument is the fact that we can have our proverbial cake and eat it too, which, as a sideline, is a stupid expression because if the cake's there on the plate, you might as well eat it. But I digress. Now, I'm just worried that the message we're sending the world, especially OPEC, when we say we're real serious about this, they can come right back at us and say, well, you have a funny way of showing it because you're not trying to get it right in your own borders.
Yeah, maybe by being the world's largest economy, maybe by going to the highest standards, we've lost sight of the cake, to use your analogy, or lost sight of the foundation. You can't conserve and you can't stop emissions without actually having efficiency measures in place across the entire economy. So fuel standards, building standards, appliance standards, all have to be, if you like, driven from central government. At the same time, do not limit your own supply, otherwise you'll be bargained and levered away. In other words, to be at the whim of somebody else's supply doesn't make any sense. And we have enough oil and gas in this country where we can produce it environmentally responsibly and not actually offshore and outsource jobs based on energy.
So turn it around, Andrew. I understand what you're saying here, but you know, the rap that Congress was giving oil executives, and by extension anyone who's done well in this oil environment, is you're not taking all that money and investing it or looking for alternatives, and it's not a congressional issue. It's a selfish issue. You're giving that money either back to your shareholders, but you're certainly not doing nearly as much as you could to solve this energy mess. What do you make of that?
Well, their value chain, I'm not, as you said, an oil company and gas company. I'm a consumer. We consume $25 billion a year, whereas 4 years ago we consumed $8 billion a year. So I've had a trebling of my costs. So I have no vested interest as an oil and gas company. So what we say as a company, I think should be very objective. And what we observe is it's not just the exploration and production, which are big bets.
Right.
But it's also, can I process it? Can I build refineries? If I try to permit a refinery, why does it take me 5, 7, 8 years? Why wouldn't I go do that in places where I can actually, in fact, get the permits faster? I would say to you that I think they're being vilified for no real reason. And I have no reason to say that because of where I am in the value chain.
But in the value chain, your critics are going to say of you, he's done quite well in this environment, and he's profited quite well in this environment. So it behooves him to sort of see this environment continue. So what will startle some listeners and viewers watching and hearing you now is you saying, well, wait a minute, I would prefer the opposite, right?
Well, the reason we've done well is we've moved overseas. I mean, in essence, we've shut down 92 factories, sold 38 businesses. We've had to raise our prices in many cases 20, 30, 40, 50% just to survive. I would actually beg to differ on having done well. The people of Dow Chemical Company have had to work really hard to put in place diversification strategies. We've put in place joint ventures in the Middle East with Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, and other places We saw this problem when it was $40 oil and $6 natural gas, Neil. Now, the fact that we're still here is testimony to our hard work to diversify away from what is fundamentally an economy that is the world's largest but doesn't have a sane energy policy. That's the point I'm making. I think we have credibility as a third-party user of energy, a value-add creator. You know, the chemical industry in America lost 500,000 jobs in the last 4 years because it cannot count anymore on the price of natural gas in this country. I mean, as an example of my point.
That's a very good point. All of your points were, Andrew, they were sorely needed. I hope, well, Congress on vacation might have been watching and hearing. Andrew Liveris, thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Neil.